So it is 10th mandala, 10th hymn, 10-10 Rigveda. And you can see that Rishi, Yami, Yami Vaivasvati, Rishika, and Yama Vaivasvata also. And Devata is Yama Vaivasvata and Yama Vaivasvati, Yami Vaivasvati. So basically they are Rishis and they are the Devatas. This is how Rigveda operates, yes. Rishi can be also Devata. So what it means that Rishi speaks the word, and Devata, it is what is being activated by that word. Yeah? What power of universal consciousness is being activated by the mantra. So in this case, Yama and Yami are both Rishika and Rishi, and the Devatas at the same time. Let me start with mantra. Om Vang me manasi pratishthitam mano me vachi pratishthitam avirāvirma edhi vedasyama anisthaha shrutam me ma prahasi anena dhitena horatran samdadhami ritam vadishyami satyam vadishyami tanmam avatu tadvaktaram avatu avatu mam avatu vaktaram avatu vaktaram. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. So, the first verse. O Chit Sakhayam Sakhya Vavrityam Tiraf Puru Chit Arnavam Jaganvan Pitur Napatam Adadhita Vedhach Adhikshami Prataram Didhyanach. O Chit Sakhayam Sakhya Vavrityam. How should I bring back a companion by companion? Across the many he has gone, over the ocean. The Creator should establish the offspring of the Father here, thinking of the follower on earth. It's a very loaded beginning. So this is Yami's speech. So Yami says this. Yes, there are two translations here. One is my interpretation, and I will go word by word, and the other is Griffith. Fain would I win my friend to kindly friendship. So may the sage come through the air's wide ocean, remembering the earth and days to follow, obtain a son, the issue of his father. So you know the story of Yama and Yami, yes? These are the twins, the children of Vivasvat. That's why she is Vaivasvati and he is Vaivasvata. It tells us the origin of their father. Their father is Vivasvan, the Lord of the Sun, the Lord of the involved Sun, the Sun which was brought down or stolen or hidden in the darkness of the inconscient. It is that Vivasvat, luminously shining, who is actually the source of all our evolution. It is that divinity which is rising and evolving from within, first as the material form, then as the vital consciousness, then the mental beings, and finally the supramental. He reaches to his utmost evolutionary stage. So this Vivasvat, he has two children from Saranyu. Saranyu was his interesting word. We have Sarama, we have Sarasvati, we have Saranyu also. We have Sarameyodox. Yeah? So we have so many Sara from root Sri to flow. So his wife was this flow of consciousness, and she brought to him these two twins, Yama and Yami. And then there is a very interesting story with her that she actually found a substitute, Savarna, a shadow, Chaya, and substituted herself as the wife for Vivasvat. Vivasvat even didn't notice the substitute according to the story. And so with that substitute, also the name Samjna, yes, or Chaya, Samjna is mainly used. And also interesting name, kind of realization through identity. She produced, because she ran away from him and we turned into the horse, and he turned into the horse finding her, he produced, they produced the Ashwins. Two Ashwins are produced later. Another twin, interesting. There are two twins. First Yama and Yami from the original Divine Mother's flow of consciousness. And then from this projection, substitute, Ashwins were produced. There is something here really fundamentally very interesting. So these Yama and Yami, they got split. The whole myth and hymn is about this. Their dialogue. They are talking about his departure. He wants to depart to heaven. And as you know, Yama was the first man who died and found the way back to the origin from which all souls came, to the Pitris origin. We saw it many times in the previous hymns, that he and Pitris are in the highest heaven having feast, and sacrifices offered to him. So Yama, before departing, has this dialogue with his twin sister, Yami. It is very heavily misinterpreted by the Western scholars about the sexual relations. But if you think about sexual relations as a symbol of unity, and as a total unity on the physical plane, which produces the being, then in that sense it is not such even a harmful way to think. Of course, it is totally prohibited by the yogic practice, every sexual relations, because of different reasons. Because it blocks away the self-finding, yes, because it is so oriented for the production of nature that itself becomes a sacrifice. Sacrifice, giving away one's consciousness to the future, as it were. One blocks himself and herself away through this act. That's why brahmacharya was suggested, no sexual relations, for those who want to find their true self. And because of that judgment, yes, and because of all the judgments about sexual relations in all religions, we have this misinterpretation. But if you think deeply that these twins are born together and on earth, she tries to keep him on earth, and he says no, he has to go, and he left. And found the way back for the soul to travel to the origin, for any dying man, his soul to find a way back. And so Yami was left on earth. And interestingly, in the Indian tradition, Yama is associated later with death because of this traveling to the source, yes, departing from the embodied state. And Yami is associated with life. Yama and Yami, death and life, so to say, these twins. Well, these are all interpretations. They are not really about the very truth of their nature, since they are sun gods, yes? They are born from the sun. They are the representatives of group soul, of humanity. Traveling into the embodied state, all the souls come, and out of the state into the resting space of psychic sphere, where they rest and prepare for the next incarnation. So this split was necessary. But what is interesting, there is another vision or imagery of when Yama left. Yami could not forget him and was crying and crying. So for her to forget Yama, the gods created night and the day, and overnight she slowly started to forget Yama. It's interesting. It's already a myth of creation. You can see that it is not about some event or some Yama and Yami. It's a creation myth. So through the nights, she slowly started to forget Yama and fulfilled her purpose of bringing souls into the incarnated, into the embodied state. So now I had to touch upon this a bit before we start looking into the myth itself. So this is a dialogue, yes, as I've said already. So, Ochit, Uchit, yeah? Ochit Sakhayam Sakhya Vavrityam, Vavrityam. How should I bring back to the friendship the friend? You know? Interesting word, Sakha, friend. It means the one who shares the same space, yes? Sakha, of the same environment or the same house, if you will. So the comrade or the companion, as I translate here, or friend and friendship. So how should I bring back to the friendship my friend? So may the sage come. Across the many he has gone, over the ocean, across the many. What does it mean even? Tirach puru chit arnavam jaganvan. Jaganvan, he has gone. He has gone through the ocean, Arnava. Interestingly, the Gandharva will be mentioned, and watery woman later. Over the ocean, there is some ocean in between. This Arnava is the universal ocean. It was seen in the Veda that universal ocean is our dwelling place, yes? It is the lower ocean, the inconscient ocean, and the superconscient ocean, Ambhas. There are two oceans, you know? And so we are kind of inbuilt in this ocean. So he crossed over the ocean. So how can I bring him back to our one space, let us say? How can I bring the one who shares with me the space, bring to the same space? He is beyond already. It starts with this. How? Because she argues with him, he wants to leave. Yes? How can I bring you closer to me if you will be over the ocean? Pituch napatam adadhita vedhach. The Creator should establish the offspring of the Father here. It's an interesting thing. Napatam. Napatam is the offspring, or Pituch napatam, or even grandson, the grandson of the Father, so to say. So he is representing the father, Vivasvat, and the offspring of Vivasvat through him. How should Creator establish the offspring of the father, or the grandson of the father, adhi kshami prataram didhyanach, thinking didhyanach, or contemplating upon the follower on earth, or the extension prataram adhi kshami, upon earth. I think it's very loaded, yes, here with meanings. So you can imagine they are both representing the group soul, and this group soul has to cross over the ocean one by one, because how else the Creator should establish the offspring of the Father here on earth to continue his being in the embodied state. How else, if not through crossing of the ocean, of uniting that transcendental world of the soul with this embodied world in the body? How else he should continue? It's a kind of question. So with this mysterious beginning, we start their dialogue. Now, Yama answers, Nate sakha sakyam vashti etat, salakshma yad, vishurupa bhavati, mahasputraso asurasya vira, divodhartarach, urviya parikhyan. Such friendship your friend does not want. What friendship? That we will stay together in one place. Here, the one having the same features should become different. Salakshma, where the one having the same features should become different. He doesn't want that commitment. Interestingly, how Griffith translates, thy friend loves not the friendship which considers her who is near in kindred as stranger. Literally, Salakshma with the same features, yes? Vishurupa of different features, Bhavati. Yat, when or where. Where Salakshma of the same qualities, of the same character, becomes different. Nate sakha sakyam vashti etat. I don't want such friendship where we of the same features become different. It's something interesting. He wants to keep up with one particular side of the soul, of its purity and connection to the transcendental, whereas she should keep up with the soul embodied here in material life. And if they stay in the same place, that would not happen. Such friendship your friend does not want, where the one having the same features should become different. The sons of great Asura, Mahapputrasach, Asurasya Virach, the hero souls, Divagdhartarach, the supporters of heaven, Urvyaparikyan, look or overview everywhere and far. This is misinterpreted that they will be judged if they will stay together and have sexual relations. But I don't see here anything of the kind. I just feel it is something else altogether. Nate sakha sakhiam vashti etat. Your friend, your person who shares with you the same character, soul, does not want this friendship of this kind, etat, where yat salakshma of the same qualities, vishurupa bhavati, becomes of different qualities. What does he imply? He implies very interesting thing. Salakshma is feminine gender, it's about her, where you, of the same qualities as me, become of different quality. I do not want such friendship. And in the later verses, he will tell her that find another companion here on earth in the embodied state and follow him. Do not follow me. So if he stays with her as if for her purpose of embodying here in the physical body, she will change in quality in relations to him. That's what he doesn't want. It's very loaded suggestion. Maybe I will not be able to explain it. The soul, for the embodiment and growth, for this sacrifice to change the fallen emanations and bring them back to self-awareness, has to undergo this journey. It cannot stay within the same immortal form here on earth, because the embodied state does not really permit it. So you will have to travel. You will have to undergo this traveling over the ocean. And if they stay together in the embodied state here, then they will become different in quality and will not fulfill their purpose as heaven and earth. If heaven becomes earth immediately without really the process of this evolution and interrelation between heaven and earth, if heaven is immediately earth, then there is no heaven or there is no earth. Yeah. So in that sense, their quality will change and she will become different. She will not fulfill her purpose as the soul, as a part of the soul who embodies the beings here, as the mother, as life. Life in time and space will stop. He is life beyond time and space, and she is life in time and space. Life beyond time and space is death for us in the embodied state. Yeah, that's why we call him death. But life in the embodied state is life for us also. And a great sacrifice for the beyond life, because that soul has to come and embody itself in the being, in the physical form. And why he says this phrase, Mahasputrasa Asurasya Vira, the great sons of Asura. Asura here is the Lord, full of being, power of being. The Viras, the heroic souls, the sons of the great Asura. Divach Dhartarach, supporting or holding heaven, not earth, notice. Urvia parikyan, who see vast and far all around. He's moving in that direction. He's moving into the source of all these putrasah, of these putras of the great Asura. We are the souls of the great Lord, the heroic souls supporting heaven on the other shore of the ocean. And they view vast and everywhere. They see everything. Parikyan, or they are kind of extending their awareness all around. Most probably this is the argument for her that he has to go over the ocean and he cannot stay here, and that vastness of the souls, heroic souls, is supported, and they are supporting heaven, and it cannot be otherwise done. He has to find the origin of all our souls, to travel back to these putras of the great Lord who support heaven, and they view everything in the vastness. That's why he doesn't accept this friendship, sharing the same space on earth with her, because he has to be on the other shore with these souls of the Lord, heroic souls who support heaven. And if he would agree to stay with her, they see it from there, and that means his mission will not be completed. He will betray their expectations of the souls he represents. He is the first man who died, we should not forget. The first man who died. It's impossible even to imagine what it means. Was there a man who didn't die before? So why do they say even this way? The first man who died is Yama, and found way back to the origin of the souls. And these are the souls, Putrasach, Virach, Mahach, Asurasya, Virach, Divach, Dhartarach. They support the heaven. And they view the vastness of the universe all around. They are present in their consciousness. It's like Purusha. In the later hymn of Purusha, we find that his eyes are all over, his limbs are everywhere. This is them. They view vast and all over. So their presence is all over. But they support heaven. And for supporting heaven, that means that he has to go to heaven. And these putrasach are actually asurasya virach. They are our pitris, actually, our forefathers, ancestors. It is with them he has a feast in the highest heaven.
Vladimir, why are they known as Asura then?
Asura is a positive term in the Rigveda. It is from root as, to be. Asu is the life force, the one who possesses life force, force of being. Agni is Asura, Indra is Asura, Varuna, Mitra Asuras. They are all Asuras who have the power of beingness. They are real. They are not just phenomenon. They are not just some force passing or some transition. They are in themselves a being.
Thank you.
There is another word, asura, with long u. It is asura, without light. And that is mainly, and these two got mixed in the later language, but mainly asura is the one who is that darker being without light. You see in the Rigveda it's always asu, short u, not long u. And asu is the force of life. And then, let's look into then what happens next. Now, Yami speaks. That was Yama speaking. He was kind of contemplating and arguing. And now she speaks again, answers to him. Ushanti ghate amritasa etat, ekasya chit tyajasam martiyasya, nite manomanasi dhai asme janyuh patih tanuvam avivishyah. Yami, for the immortals want indeed this, one descendant of the mortal. That's what they want. Let me do this of the one. It's not correct. The immortals want indeed this, the descendant of the one, the mortal. This, no, of the mortal, of the one. Okay, I will clarify this in a minute. Ushanti ghate amritasa etat, and the immortals want indeed this, of the one ekasya chit indeed, tyajasam, the offspring martiyasya, of the mortal. So they want the descendant of the one, the mortal, of the mortal. So how do we get the descendant of the mortal of the one? If the one is there, and the immortals want only this, one thing, to get the offspring of the mortal. It's very difficult to get mortal of itself, and then to get the offspring of the mortal. It means tyajasam is that which is left after them. That means continuation in time and space in the mortality. The continuation is immortality. So the immortals want only this, the continuation in time and space of immortality, in other words, yes? That the mortals will leave the offspring, the continuation. Nite manomanasi dhai asme. May your mind, or mental focus, concentration, be established in our mind, mental choice. So to say, focus your consciousness on my choice. May you, the Lord, pervade the body, tanvuvam, extension in time and space, of procreating power. Of procreating power, I translated Jani. Jani is actually the one who brings to birth, feminine, yes, mother, let us say, or woman. Interesting word, woman, womb, man, yes, the man who has a womb, who actually can give you the embodied state, that is Yami. So Janyuh of Jani, Vedic wrong genitive case. I'm speaking to my students of Sanskrit. Do you see Janyuh now? But we had several cases like Sakyuh, but Janyuh, this Vedic genitive. Of Jani, of the woman, patich, you the Lord, tanuvam avivishyach, you should enter, or you may enter, the extension, or the body, which is actually translated usually as a sexual intercourse. But interestingly, how Griffith is translating, then let thy soul and mine be knit together, and as a loving husband take thy consort. He found the way to make it very beautiful, avoiding all that pervasiveness. I'm more literal. May you, the Lord, pervade the body, and she doesn't say my body, the body of procreating power. There is no mentioning my body or I am the Jani. There's nothing of the kind. She wants him to stay in this embodied state as a soul when they came down. They came down together into the embodied state. And then he departed. And that had to be done that way, because the way back had to be found. Not the way forward. Way forward they found together. They fell into the material form, so to say, into material manifestation. But from there to find the way back and to maintain the track of the souls is something else. But she didn't want him to leave, because they are together the twins. They are the luminous sun gods. And why should he leave? It is very painful for her and very painful for him also. He is not very fond of leaving. He is also, but he says that it must be done. It cannot be done this way, because then we will change in quality and nature. And it won't be the same what was intended. And the souls are looking for us and wanting this mechanism to work. Mechanism of traveling from the source of the souls to nature and from nature back to the source. This would be the continuation of the Tyajasam Martyasya, yes, the offspring of the mortal. Continuation in time and space can be provided only in this way. Otherwise, they will change. There will be no dynamics of the embodied state. There will be no evolution of consciousness. And there will be no evolution of being, the body. She wanted him to stay. And she thought this would be the best. And by the way, her drawing him to herself is so important, this kind of pulling, because that pull is actually determining the very power of the return of the soul into the embodied state. So that pull, that oneness which they represent, that tension between them, it is the path, yes? It is the insurance of this process to continue. If she would not have that attachment to him, then the soul would never find its way to the right embodied state. But somebody on earth is providing the orientation of the soul. There is a representative of the group soul here on earth as life, which determines the place where the soul is to go in accordance with its own intention. As Mother beautifully describes, that the soul, when it is ready to be embodied and to realize its own intentions for the development of, or the growth of consciousness, it looks for the place where to go, where to be born. And from the earth side, from there down, the soul sees these blinking light. Like light is giving the sign where the soul may go with its intention. And if we think of it, who is providing that connection from earth, from that blinking light on earth in the darkness there below? It is Yami. Yami provides the correlation of the need of the soul to develop in a particular way. So she provides the passage to the body, and Yama, with Saramaya dogs, as we read before, provides the safe passage of the soul to the resting place, to the transcendental. And they are both the son children of the group soul of humanity. This is the way how ancient rishis described the mysterium of our birth on earth. There is no other way to really make it easy. So there are two, Yama and Yami, twins, sun gods, representatives of a human group soul, providing this over ocean traveling. Maybe I will stop here.
One thing the mother also says that it is the aspiration of the mother during the prenatal stage which determines which soul will come to the mother. That also she says that is very, the mother also must aspire for a soul which is rich in the divine consciousness.
Yeah.
Or the type of soul the mother wants. That also determines. Somewhere
Yeah.
she said.
Yes, absolutely. And it is in the Indian tradition also, when the marriage, the whole marriage in the Brihadaranyaka is described. When he approaches his wife, man, he says, "I am heaven, you are earth. Let us bring together the seed for the embodiment of the hero soul," and so on. This is an intention has to be maintained by both, by father and mother. Also, father has to be included because he is on this side. Yes, he is in the embodied state. The nature provided this difference between two sexes for the sake of embodiment, but truly speaking, souls on this side and souls on that side are neither he or she. Yes, they are it, both of them. So it's only in nature here on this side that we see a female and male. But it's interesting that mother has to invoke, mother has to envision what child has to be born, what features he has to have, and so on. And there are many beautiful stories about this throughout literature. Yes.
Yes, one story the mother said that when mother during her this period, she had a photograph of a child, and she used to look at the child and used to aspire. And when the child was born, the face exactly looked of the photograph of the child which the mother had in her room.
Oh, right.
So this story the mother had told to the ashramites.
Yeah, it is absolutely. I know from literature also, Jesse and Morgiana, there is a story of Alexander Green, very interesting, that the mother was looking at the portrait and
Yes.
when she was pregnant, and she brought to birth such a beautiful girl. And the other girl, she was in another room when she was pregnant, and there was a ugly monkey on this, and the child was born very ugly. And between these two sisters, there was a constant conflict. And yeah, yes, what you see, what you envision, yes, but it is about the body. About the soul is interesting because the soul is choosing the environment which is suitable for its own self-development. It chooses the country, the genome of the parents, the surrounding, and if it is suitable for its development, it says okay. And it is never 100% suitable.
Yes.
It's always approximate. But soul dares to do it because it's stronger. It actually creates its own karma, as it were, its own destiny by bending everyone and making everybody work for itself. For example, I was born in the Soviet Union with two parents, communists both. Mother is bureaucrat and so on. I could never imagine my father was atheist and propagandist of atheism going around. He would never imagine that his son would be, reading Rigveda somewhere, living in India and then in the US, and dedicate all his life to this yoga, of integral yoga. Never could imagine. Nobody knew about yoga or anything of the kind. But I chose that. Why? Because I knew I can make it. Yeah? And I made it. It wasn't easy, by the way, making it, if you look at it from the outer point of view. But from the inner point of view, I don't even see any obstacle. It's amazing. Yeah? Analyze your life. You will see it, that you chose something you wanted. Yeah? Or wanted because you made it anyhow.
Yes.
You found
And
Sri Aurobindo and the mother. It's the biggest grace you could have.
yes.
And how could I find Sri Aurobindo and the mother in the Soviet Union, where Sri Aurobindo was prohibited at all? All his books were prohibited. So, yeah. The soul doesn't mind the nitty-gritties. It needs its own experience, and it may be very different from the outer look than from the inner. As Mother says, it's never like only getting, better and better outer conditions. It's not about outer conditions. It's about inner calling and inner work. Yeah? And it can be born in a very different situation, very difficult even. But it will be suitable for its own self-development. Actually, Yama and Yami clarified for me a lot about this journey and who is Yama and why he is not the Lord of Death in Savitri, also why Sri Aurobindo never mentions word Yama. Yeah, he speaks about the Lord of Death all the time, but never Yama. All other names are there because Yama is not the Lord of Death. He is the representative of group soul. He is the helper of the soul rather than the killer of the body. He is not killing the body. Soul decides that it's time to go, and then Yama approaches and helps soul in this transition with his Sarameya dogs, with his messengers. Of course, for Satyavan, he came himself. Savitri even asked him, why did you come yourself? You should have sent your, messengers. Usually you do send messengers, and now you came yourself. He said, he is too dear to me. So he couldn't entrust his soul transition to anyone. He had to come himself. It's also a very interesting episode because it never happens that way.
Possibly,
Yes.
possibly Yama knew that that his deputy will not be able to handle Savitri. So he
He himself couldn't handle her. So. Yeah, it's a good guess, yes. Or maybe because Satyavan is the representing group soul of humanity, because of that. And he, as the group soul representative, Yama, had to be there.
Vladimir,
Yes.
about Yama and or Lord of Death in Savitri. I see in Kathopanishad, Nachiketa is approaching Yama with a lot of admiration and adoration. But in Savitri, Savitri is approaching Lord of Death with aggression. So I didn't understand first what is the migration between why this attitude different. But now what you say, Yama is not a Lord of Death.
Mm.
It seems that there is some clue over here. If now or later on, if you can dwell on it, some bit more depth into it.
Well, you remember these four fallen emanations, and these are the four major protagonists in Savitri. Yes, there is Dyumatsena, who is the falling of the light of consciousness. He became blind. Yeah? Then there is Ashvapati, who everybody loved, but he suffered a lot. Interesting, suffered a lot. Samtapam upajagmivan from the Mahabharata story. He suffered a lot, and that means because he didn't have progeny, he didn't have son to continue. He had the kingdom but didn't have son. Yes, the Dyumatsena had the son but didn't have kingdom, became blind. It's an interesting game. Yeah, so the Lord of Power, who is to bring bliss, suffered a lot, and that is the fall of the bliss into suffering. Yes? And then there is falsehood, that truth turned into falsehood, supermind turned into the distorted falsehood, and which is also very interesting. And then life turned into death. So if I speak about falsehood, it is that when Savitri was born, she was very beautiful and very truthful. Yes, she always spoke the truth. So nobody dared to approach her to ask her hand in marriage, because she was no match for anyone. Everybody recognized that she is no match. Can you imagine such a thing? Everybody approached to marry Sita, Damayanti, all those beautiful maidens, divine maidens, but Savitri was so extremely unmatching anyone that nobody even dared to open his mouth and say that I would like to marry her. So in that sense, unmarried Savitri, unasked, unwanted, is actually truth falling into falsehood. And then Satyavan must die within a year. That is the destiny of the life turning into death. So death, according to Sri Aurobindo, is those first fallen emanations, and not Yama. Yama is secondary emanation. He was born for the sake of redeeming the fallen emanations. They cannot be identified. They have different purpose, different work to do. Yama is here to recover actually the fallen emanation of death, of life, eternal life. That's why they split. They split to continue life through the offspring of the mortals. That was the only way to continue the immortality. It is amazingly logical and clear, truly speaking, in every way. If we just think it with Sri Aurobindo's mind, his way of thinking. If you think with any other traditional way, that Yama is the Lord of Death, that he is coming on buffalo and this, and he has that, and something else, and he's with Varuna, and you name it, then we don't see the truth. And by the way, Sri Aurobindo himself says that Yama is the sun god. We have this in Isha Upanishad, there he comments on him, yes? Yama, Surya, Prajapatya, Vyuha Rashmin, spread the rays, Samuha Teja, concentrate the brightness, yes? So this is Yama, the sun god. It's not just the Lord of Death. He's saving us from the Lord of Death. It's amazing that Sri Aurobindo never explained this for some reason, but he didn't call him Yama, that's it. Didn't want to go into the explanation. Most probably it's quite difficult to explain. You see how much I'm stumbling to explain this thing. So how can you explain to someone? They would be arguing all the time at every turn of the thought. Great. Are there any more thoughts on these two?
Vladimir, is there anything more on how Yama traces his way back to the source? His journey back?
Oh, no. Description of the journey? No, we don't know that. Maybe somewhere in Puranas we may find. I will look into it. But it is said that he found his way back to the source.
Probably that is why his questions to Nachiketa are so insightful. He knows the way back, and when he tests Nachiketa that with the 3 questions, someone
Right.
who has experienced his way back is able to put across those questions.
Right. Did you notice in Nachiketa's, it's also very loaded symbolically story. It's already mixing Yama with the Yama Vedic and Yama post-Vedic. Yeah? There is a mixture. He is already the Lord of Death, Mrityu, and so on, but not totally. If you start looking how they speak and what he gives him or what knowledge he gives him, it's very different from and why he is there. He asks him the secret of death. And Yama tells him, well, don't ask this. Even gods are bewildered here and so on. Nobody knows, and nobody knows for sure, and so on. He tries to bribe him with this life on earth, yeah? Saying you will have all the pleasures on earth. Nobody has such pleasures. Why don't you take the long life? And it's a very interesting answer. He says, who can be happy of long life and if they see you as a possibility of immortality? Why do we have to like long life? What's in the long life? You see, our life passed so fast. I was just a boy a few moments ago, and now I am a gray-haired old man sitting here and thinking about departure. So what was there in that long life which could attract me so much that I should forget everything? But the idea was to create the offspring, continuation of the mortal, from the mortal, the mortal, from the mortal, the mortal as immortality. And so we maintain that lineage. Yes, and he provides for us the safe passage to our resting place, recharging ourselves with new vision, coming down and continuing the journey, pushing forward. And Yami provides safe passage down for the destination we want. These twins, sun gods.
Vladimir, I also see in this something of the message about the separation of spirit and matter, and Yami bemoaning that separation. No, we should be together. We shouldn't be apart. But Yama finds his way, the evolution of the soul back to the source, but then ultimately they need to be together because the descendant of the mortal. The mortal is the combination of spirit and matter. I don't know. I can't really articulate it, but it seems like
You did very well. Yeah, it's absolutely that. Mortal is the combination of both. And they need help on both sides, yes. The soul needs this lodging here. Yami is providing and making it secure, and Yama provides the lodging there. So, and passages also, passages through the ocean.
Vladimir,
Yeah.
may I go ahead?
Yes, please.
What I get from this session is the Yami wants evolutionary process of life, and a Yama needs to go out of the evolutionary process of life. Is that so?
Well, he has to support the recharging of the soul. He is also interested in going ahead, in immortality. Immortality is given, but not in the embodied state. Not this device was put into the fallen emanations in order to bring them back to their self-awareness. Yes, we took onto ourselves the bodies, and we started this journey, this dynamic process ahead. Yes. It cannot be done at once. That's the problem. If he would stay, it would not be done. Yeah? It would be, again, no creation would come into existence. Yeah? There would be no creation if he would stay with her. But because he provided that passage, that we are recollecting, reimagining ourselves every time we engage. Yeah. It has something to do also with memory and many, many things more. We have to create this power of concentration of consciousness which can embrace the whole world. Yes? We do not have it in this time and space, in the separate bodies. If they stay together, there would be no, even many people would not be there. The manyness would not come into existence. It is because of that traveling of the souls.
Mm-hmm.
It's a way of speaking about this. It's a mythical way of expressing something which is absolutely impossible to express to our mind, because our mind operates by, by black and white. We have to see what is going on. So in the language of the mind, something very difficult to express was expressed.
Actually, when you were explaining this sukta, two images came to me. That was, one is that what Yami is asking is the way of Vishnu, and what Yama is doing, what Yama is going is the way of Shiva. That is the first image I got it. Whether right or not, that you tell me. And second, I recall that a incident in Mahabharata where Shantanu and Ganga, and Ganga um, let these seven vasus into the ocean, water. Again, there is a Urneva Sabda comes over here, because they, get redeemed once at the most. And then Shantanu asked the last one to continue that part of I coincide with this Yami's request that I want to continue in the world. So something like that, these two images came to me, but I don't know whether it is related to this or...
There is something about Shiva and Vishnu, yes. Shiva is more fundamentally the light by itself, yes, which is holding the whole nature on his shoulders, and Agni is rising because his sun is rising from below, as it were. Rudra, we are talking about Rudra here. And Vishnu is more that from above, whose older brother is Indra, with lightning coming down. Something we have to revisit of Vishnu and Shiva, because they are constituting these two halves of the divinity interacting, yes? But it's most probably something is there, because always duality, heaven and earth, yes? and always interaction between them, between the pure soul and the embodied state is to take place. And if it is not dynamic, how can you at all explain death? Yes, why we have to die? Just think about it. You are in the embodied state. Why do we have to leave the body? Everything works here, and then slowly it doesn't work, and doesn't work more and more until it stops working, and then you have to go. Why the body behaves so strangely? Why it should really become so incapable of holding the soul?
Maybe because it is body has not been able to pace up with the ways of the spirit.
Absolutely, as mother says, yes. It's in a different speed. It is not conscious. It is not aware. It is unconscious in many places, in many parts. And those parts create the residue which cannot be changed, which can be only consumed as the food, feeding the rest of going forward, of Agni. So this is the redemption, the process of transformation, yes, which we are here to do as souls. And Yama and Yami are our security guards, yes, of our group soul. They are the providers of the proper process to go forward of the evolution of consciousness. They are doing this. Without them, how would we know where to go? I mean, who would orient us? I leave the body, and then where would soul go? It cannot go. It's infinity there. It can be lost in the infinity. It needs the passage. It needs the direction. It needs the destination. And who provides the destination? And when I'm there in the infinity of the beyond, in the soul's world, who provides me the destination for the earth, in which family to be born, and when and how? It is not as mechanical or simplistic as it looks like. There are forces behind. And these forces are named Yama and Yami. They have names.
So deep, no?
What is good about these hymns, they are raising questions we never would ask ourselves, and never would dare to look at our life from this perspective, true perspective of what we are. Great, we can stop here and meet another time. Continue the hymn. Let me finish with mantra. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinaha Sarve Santu Niramaya Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma Kaschit Dukkha Bhag Bhavet. Om Shanti Shanti